All right, thank you very much. A lot of mixed feelings obviously flying around the Call of Duty community at the moment, but also mixed feelings about this game. An interesting one to be sure. HyDra has slipped through in the hard points, one that Florida Mutineers have not played competitively, and New York have only played once. Is it a test for these two teams? Just trying something a little bit new. We know Florida haven't had a good time as of late, Ton.
Yeah, they haven't had a good time in hardpoint, full stop. And, well, it's the first time they were actually seeing HyDra full stop this stage. First time around in stage number 2, we are getting to witness the swimming, at least. It's an interesting one.
This is our first time casting it.
Yeah, I know we've genuinely never cast it, and I remember I remember at the major everyone was doing, oh, we should make some jokes about HyDra, we should wear some scuba gear. You had that from day number 1, and we never got it. So
I had it before the
I'm give
started.
you I will give you your props on that one. We never got a chance, mate. It was a truly unfortunate turn of events.
It certainly is. Well, speaking of turn of events, let's find out how this one is going to kick off. Of course, these two teams, one of the things you've got to look at here is obviously New York, pretty much the titans of the CDL at the moment, the team to beat for everyone involved. Florida hoping to maybe make a little bit more of a rounded gameplay. Their hardpoint has been laying them down.
They do have the best spawns, though, when it does come down to HyDra, and that's something that's going to be very important, but you have to make sure that they don't get flipped. Players like HyDra, well, I mean, it's kind of in the name, isn't it, Pricey? Keeping it very, very wet. Let's see if you can find some rotations going on through. First couple of kills are going to go through towards Florida, though. A couple more from Havoc. This rotation is what it's all about, though, and plenty of swimming being done by the Subliners so far.
Yeah, and both these two teams obviously just filling each other out, getting into the groove after all the practices they've been doing off camera, ready for this game. For Florida, obviously a win here would be huge. It would cause us to reevaluate how we see them in our power rankings for the league. For New York, it should be business as usual. Even the desk said 3-0 for this one, Ton.
Subliners this time, though, are going to have to try and find a break here. HyDra curious of the rotation that may well already be going on for the Florida Mutineers, but it doesn't have to. Havoc through the front door will find 2. HyDra can't exchange it, but I mean, based off that first rotation, that looks pretty good. First hill, you hold on to the spawns, you've got to hold on them, if only momentarily, as New York now find a breakthrough. And well, I was just about to big Florida up. It's a perfect break from the New York Subliners. This should be a lead for them heading over towards P3, as long as they hold on to the rest of peak time over at P2.
Wait a minute.
It's just back and forth, Pricey.
Wait a minute, HyDra alone and afraid. Knows he has at least one player to reinforce him here, but Florida Mutineers have done an incredible job to break that back through. They are not going to go behind so far. HyDra will have to set up for scrap time as he gets gunned down as well. Priestahh will get his trade, and now as we rotate towards P3, Florida Mutineers have done a much better job so far than we were expecting.
I was about to say, we've got to go with Major Maniac. He's one of the ones that have slipped it towards the back. KiSMET with an important play, though. We'll find the kill, and yeah, a bit of a strange one, has to be said. Florida Mutineers set themselves up over towards P2, was looking good, flip back and forth. New York Subliners, it's a minor win that you were able to find a break because you found the rotation over towards P3, you found 3 kills as well. Major Maniac momentarily the last one on the map alive for Florida Mutineers. Subliners with a good hold so far.
HyDra with the perfect call there, knew the player was coming through the water as well, and you can see all the way at the back. Priestahh might not look like he's doing anything, but he is blocking those spawns hard. He's now moving out of it, ready for the back spawn. It's the perfect call here from New York. They have manipulated the spawns perfectly. They want Florida now back there for this rotation in the next few seconds, and that's why they are playing HyDra. They put this into the rotation, and they are playing it well done.
They're going to get the spawns towards the back here if you are Florida. Yes, you are. Now you're in danger. You need Vehicle, you need Major Maniac to find some big kills, but if you're New York Subliners, cutting off the mid-map will be important as well. You can see KiSMET and Co are kind of just chilling at this moment in time, trying to find these transitional kills. They've already found one of them. Vehicle's able to answer back. Brack finds another. So not a bad rotation from Florida Mutineers here so far. New York Subliners are posted up halfway across the map. Let's see if they can find some kills. At the moment, though, it's all Florida.
Yeah, Major Maniac is playing his life completely there in the end, and they've managed to hold on to it. And Major Maniac didn't over-engage. He didn't go for anything that would have got him into trouble. And it's a great opportunity now. Florida Mutineers desperate to just hold on to this, get the lead back away. New York stacking deep through Broken. They're going to try and hit this all at once. They get the first blood done as well, Ton. They're now going to push the tempo as fast as they can as the trades start flying through. And out goes HyDra, and he's going to find Havoc, but not good enough as Havoc gets 2. And they've held back New York.
Yeah, you've got to push hard, really hard if you're the New York Subliners to try and break this spawn. Florida Mutineers still here and with plenty of numbers. Good shots coming in from Brack as Priestahh will try to light it up from up top. And they will just about find a break, but only for 10 seconds. That's a good time for the Mutineers. but the rotation wasn't there for the Mutineers. They're forced into those back spawns, meaning Subliners, again, are able to find a rotation now, but it has to be said that 50-50 between these two teams in terms of who's winning these rotations. But look at this from the Mutineers now, all through mid-map, trying to get control of runes as best as they can.
I think it's something Florida have been playing this very well so far, but if they can find a break here, they can probably take the momentum away from New York. They have to get past Priestahh, who will be playing iLLeY. If he knows he's going to come under pressure and calls it correctly, the rest of the Mutineers are stacking this now. And a player will slip towards the back. It's going to be Major Maniac. And he's also going to have Havoc with him. They are putting the squeeze on, and the kills are going for them as well as Priestahh is going to get gunned. And that'll be scrap time for Florida.
And we know a lot this time on this map specifically is coming down to those rotations. You can very much lock in 60s every single hill if you can find the kills. Rotational-wise, New York are the highest in the whole season. They're going to find a break here themselves with Florida Mutineers down in second to last. But they're very much going toe-to-toe in terms of these rotations. But the hold from Subliners here as they managed to find a break on through just a little bit better than Florida, who are getting broken far too easily. Rotations have definitely been paramount from Florida, but they need to make them count.
Well, this game is very close. Only 20 points separates these two teams as we head into our second set of rotations. Right now, it will be New York in a slightly better position. They started off on the other side of this just last time around. Can they make a bigger deal of it? You can already see the pressure starting to come through, but the kills are not there for them. And KiSMET with the 2 is going to shut down all of that pressure from Brack.
Shots in. Major Maniac and Co. have started to slip behind just that little bit. Rotations are working well. The hold's not so good, but are the comms good from the Florida Mutineers? Let's go for our listening.
Push your weak, low.
Nice.
One, that's like Shack in mid.
I'm meeting left. I'm meeting Shack.
I'm mid.
Nice. I can look over you, time.
He pushed him. He's in time. On me.
Made it up. Good finish. One more top rocks or dome. I can't tell.
Okay. I spun it over you again. I'm gonna go window.
Nice.
I'm trying to go right.
They're all spawning new. We gotta wait for Javi to get right.
He's top dome again. Skyz.
I can come up on bridge hop. You gotta stay live.
One's bottom broken stun.
Top down.
Okay.
I'm stunned top.
Want me to take a nets route?
I stunned it over you. Hearts on him somewhere. On you.
You know where this guy is?
Blocking the spawn.
No,
We're blocking the right spawn.
He's low.
Nice. 3.
Nice.
Or 2.
Nothing moonrock,
Keep coming out. L and Hill. Last 2.
Okay.
L and Hill.
You want back nets?
And back nets.
You want top weak. Nice.
Let's go time.
More in time. Let's spawn P5 guys.
Nice.
Let's go. Stay alive new.
Well, there you go. The Florida Mutineers calling it all out, blocking the right spawn, getting in the right place, have managed to cut down New York and clawing back some points into this one. New York having a great time there. Tan taking P1 to P2 rotation. It got them a lot of points.
It did get them a lot of points, but it was 30 more points that were on offer. Florida Mutineers with a nice little break, but this is then cost them. It feels like Florida Mutineers are just kind of fighting from the back foot, kind of fighting in that, I don't want to say proactive, they're kind of going the opposite direction. They're more reactive to what's going on. They now need to be a bit more proactive. New York Subliners are that team being proactive. Skyz in the water, locking things down. Florida Mutineers, yes, okay, you stopped them getting the 20 or so there, but you need to find some more bricks.
Player in the water is eventually going to find him Skyz and see, but there will be a trade going down for both. The better position. They are going to flood in to reinforce here, but Vehicle's going to do the work to manage to get that player out. And now they have top control. They're going to try and squeeze out this hard point as much as they can. Already Vehicle going to get gunned by Priestahh. I thought he had that one in the bag.
This is better from Florida Mutineers, though, because they can keep New York spawning back here, although it's actually going to be them towards the back. New York not allowed the time because of the pressure in from Florida Mutineers. Now it's just a bit of a fight in a bar, and let's see which way it's going to go. Vehicle last alive, turns on the KiSMET. There's the kill. The rest of the team were there for the backup anyway. And all for that, for about 15 seconds. Florida Mutineer now having to find a breakthrough over towards P4. It's just so twisty and turny, this one so far, but New York Subliners are the ones finding the breaks where they need to. The rotations have been significantly cleaner on the second rotation of hills, and Florida Mutineers are struggling to keep up.
You see Skyz, great little pick there, took the player down top down, they're looking for this player back in. Oh my goodness, what is that snap? That player got deleted. Oh my Skyz continues to just rain terror now on the Mutineers, and they're trying to get forward. HyDra's pushing as well. There's a 2-piece. He's pushing this out so far and eventually will fall. But New York are looking to hammer Mutineers further back. It was close going into the second rotation. It is not close anymore.
25 seconds to go for Florida Mutineers. You need to start turning it up very, very quickly. There's one man that slipped the net. That's going to be Havoc for about 20 seconds of time. He's not going to find anything, and now it's about the rotation. Mutineers spawning towards the back. The manipulation from Subliners. We've seen it at P3. We've seen it here at P4. So wonderfully worked, but the kills on transition will fall Florida's way. Where are New York going to spawn? I hazard a guess. It's towards the back. You got to go on Major Maniac, and he's going to go big.
Major Maniac could be the difference. He already finds Priestahh first, but will get taken down by KiSMET before he can do too much damage. A lot of players spread out here, but the kills are going the way of New York. They're looking to lock this one down. KiSMET flies in. Havoc gets deleted towards the back. Skyz gets one as well. KiSMET gets another. And it really is not looking good for Florida. They have 15 seconds to turn this around.
Oh, that's GG. They've locked it down. Now it's the push through the dreaded mid-map. You've got Skyz. He's been beaming all game long. It's going to be 250 to 143. A scary start, a comfortable end. New York Subliners, one to the good.
That's not about how you start, and it started pretty even, but it finished well to the New York Subliners and was not pretty to watch. You got to give a little bit of props to Florida. They had some good rotations, they had some good breaks, but unfortunately they just seemed to slow. I don't even think they slowed down. I think it may be New York getting better as it went on.
And I feel like it was the rotations. You know, we've seen Florida have those spawns over towards P2 to kick things off. Got a nice little start, couple of little flips here and there. But those rotations from Subliners, as I said, when it's come down to rotational wins, 57% of the time, it is a CDL leading statistic. Subliners are the best team in the game at doing that, and you've seen that to the maximum level in that second rotation of hills. I think they maybe won every single rotation when it does come down to it for each and every hill on that second rotation of hills, and it made the difference when you can then lock it down. They weren't doing as good of a job at locking it down on the previous rotation, but in the second half of that hard point, that was somewhat dominant. KiSMET, Skyz all popping up when needed. HyDra just being the nuisance as per usual. And Florida Mutineers, it wasn't a bad start, as we can see from the highlights. You know, you get that second hill rotated in, you're looking good. And it was a decent enough break here towards the back as well. Major Maniac couldn't do a great deal, but releasing some tension for his teammates, didn't then push up through the map. But Subliners, when they were given the opportunity to score big points, they didn't miss a beat price.
They certainly didn't. And one thing I want you to keep an eye on this replay. Watch when we get into our second set of rotations, how close not only the score is, but the slaying. It is very, very tight between these two teams. And I'm fairly certain after that point, it just completely fell apart for the Mutineers. You can already see just how out of control it's getting. It wasn't that far difference for the slaying wise, and then it got really, really bad. Skyz, as well as went towards P2, completely shut down a push by himself. Here's the snap. There's one. Already weak. 24 health. Major Maniac's looking out of the water, but down he goes.
Nicely done from Skyz. It's those kind of moments, though, isn't it? You've got those X-Factor players on this New York Subliners roster that, honestly, we knew they had. We didn't see enough of last year. Of course, a change up in the roster, and things are working oh so beautifully. 250 to 143. The hard point, as expected, has to be said, does go over towards the Florida Mutineers. But aBeZy, Search and Destroy is what's coming up next. Hotel Control, map number 3. If we need it, we'll see Hotel on hard point, map number 4, and Embassy Search and Destroy to close things out. It's still a quite evenly sided series here, though, Bryce. Some of the videos caught us a little bit off guard, has to be said.
Well, that's the thing, I think, realistically, and to borrow a football term, a game of two halves, although this isn't going to be both halves of it. When the hard point, we knew New York were going to come into this as the heavily favored team. Florida Mutineers have not been playing particularly well when it comes down to, well, any hard point, realistically. But their S&D has been the difference. And that's what they'll be relying on here. Get back into this, same old story, try and hit the Neslo against New York. A very difficult prospect, simply because Florida, they are kind of lagging towards the bottom a little bit of our power rankings and our CDL standings at the moment, Tom.
But one of the reasons that they haven't been very much down towards the bottom is their Search and Destroy, which is what's going to be coming up next. The man in the top right corner of those cams in Havoc, very much leading the way in terms of those initial engagements. But somebody I want to shine a little bit more of a light on is Vehicle, actually. He's leading the league in bomb plants right now, 37, and alongside that a 0.94 KD. That's quite impressive, considering some of the other bomb planters who really do that dirty work for their team are nowhere near that kind of KD, outside of somebody like Simp, who is, well, just a bit of a freak of nature. You know, we expect that from him. But he's the guy that's taken a little bit more pressure off his teammates to then be able to do a little bit more. They've got another leading stat line in Search and Destroy as well, and that is Brack leading with 75% win rate in his opening duels. And that's just allowing players like Vehicle to get into those positions. It's making it so easy for teams like Florida Mutineers to manipulate these Search and Destroy rounds when you've got somebody who's so reliant on planting those bombs, actually finding kills alongside of of it, and then Brak, who's able to find those opening kills and giving you those advantages straight from the kickoff.
No, I agree, and I think it is interesting. Maybe we undervalue sometimes the bomb planter. We know it's a more difficult decision, and realistically, a lot of the community and even the stats we put out, it's all about KD. We don't talk about how impactful it can be to get an early bomb down, or how difficult it can be, and how that will affect your stats at the end of the day. If you have to make a move into a position where the enemy team is know you're going to eventually, because they are literally guarding that place, you are more likely to get picked. You are more likely to get caught after the bomb plant. You are less likely to get a trade. It all kind of factors in. So getting that many bombs down and, still winning those S&D rounds and getting away with it, it is one of those intangibles that we may not talk about as much as we should.
There's a few things we can delve into. Intangibles, tangibles, all over the shop, Brycey. As we head into map number 2, this is very much favored towards the side of Florida. 4-0 with a 68 round win percentage, including 78% on those offenses. And that is largely down to what we've just been talking about, those bomb plants coming on through. It happens a lot here for the side of Florida. Retaking has been an issue for New York as well, so expect that to be a game played by the side of Florida. Plenty of bomb plants, plenty of holding down as best as you can. But can New York prevent that? I think that has to be their job.
Well, let's see. This is where we find out. Is the difference big enough? Florida Mutineers, over and over again, it's been S&D. And it's straight into this bomb plant. We talked about it before. Vehicle, he goes for the fast plant. Already gone down. Still a 4v4.
Curious setup here from the side of Subliners as that first blood goes that way, as does the second. HyDra slipping the net, but Major Maniac Vehicle answering back, but it's Major Maniac left. 1v2.
Let's try and pull this out here. Has a sniper. Probably wants to go for the peek in case he's there. He's going to get shot down with a pistol, but it's not going to be enough. Priestahh will get it. KiSMET gets to the fuse, and the fast start from Florida falls to bits.
And that one is doable for the side of Major Maniac if the bomb's planted in the right place. So around the other side, he's never going to be able to find a peek. And okay, well, maybe if you're Florida, you haven't necessarily set up for that. But a really solid retake for the side in New York. I said it's something they have struggled with. Only 33% of the time able to get that back. Florida planting 72% of their attacking rounds as well. So that's going to have to continue to impress and continue to improve for the side of New York. They start with a 1-0 retake. Lovely stuff. KiSMET opened things up. HyDra from the back. And it was a naughty little setup over towards Radio Tower side. Skyz going for the pick off the rip, but it's going to be a 3-man hit over towards mid here for both teams.
Well, that's a big push from KiSMET here. Tries to get that first blood. Hasn't worked out for them. And now they're down a player on the attack. They also don't have control, but Priestahh brings it back to a 3 versus 3, and now will run for his life.
Fucking on down. Priestahh just trying to stay alive. Not a lot of info here for either team. It's Florida Mutineers, Wolf packing up together. Skyz looking for any information over towards the top side, but a bomb plant is on the offing, but Florida Mutineers very aggressive.
Skyz hasn't seen any bit. Vehicle comes around, but Brak will get him before then. And now Priestahh and HyDra in a little bit of a difficult position. They're trying to figure out how to get this one sorted. They know they're outnumbered. They know they've lost map position as well. And Major Maniac being very sneaky on the roof.
Oh, here we go. He's going to hear them, HyDra.
The first. Easy.
Like an elephant pushes through. It's easy stuff for the side of Major Maniac. And I like the aggression downfield side. Sorry, Bryce. They just kind of set up down that side, and they can easily transition. They know if they start pushing towards them, well, okay, it's going to be hit over towards the field side, and they can easily push themselves back into the bomb side. They're in positions to retake important areas, like up top office, down low towards that bomb site. Nicely done from the Florida Mutineers.
I think for New York, one of the issues there was they kind of hesitated. They were a little bit unsure of where Mutineers had gone. And by the time they had lost their player watching over them up top, it was a little bit too late. They just didn't know where to go. They had no idea information. They had no idea of how to enact game plan once they had lost all those power positions for them. But Havoc already going straight through here. This could be another fast plant for them.
Skyz has chosen not to be overzealous and try and go for the retake on his own, but look at number 2, Priestahh. He's the one that can maybe set something up. Well, he could have, but he's dead. Brak will find the kill on the flag. Now a 4v3.
Vehicle just playing this corner. Just trying to hold it down. He knows he's got some watch from field. Door's going to go open, and Vehicle calls it perfectly. KiSMET laying down doesn't do anything, but it is going to be HyDra who goes in against Havoc. Skyz up top, looking for one. He's still going to be a 1 versus 3 if he can do it, but gets gunned down before he can do any more damage. And the Mutineers get another round on the board.
Vehicle doing fantastically around the site there. The setup for Florida Mutineers, yes, it's so important that they find that initial kill. That flanking player and Priestahh is dealt with all of a sudden. You only have to deal with the front, and it's Vehicle who finds all of the other 3 players on the side of Subliners. Picking up as many kills as... I think he picks up multiple kills as much as he does pick up just the single kill. And, well, there's your OpTic team warming up, of course, but that's game number 2. We're still in game number 1. Florida Mutineers now. Gotta be feeling good about the search and destroy. 2-1 to the good. But we can't stress it enough. They need this map, Brycey. They need to continue this one.
They do, and Vehicle gets 2 with a long bomb. That's a 6-1 start for him. That is ridiculous. The double A's went through. Clearly something they've practiced. And New York, well, this round is over for Ghana's Vehicle. It's a 6 streak. We talked about him planting bombs, but he's just laying them out now on this map. Priestahh last alive as a 1 versus 4, but he's almost got no hope. He guns the first, Vehicle gets the second. That's 7 for Vehicle now.
That may well be an ace for Vehicle. Does he pick up that final kill as well?
I think he got it.
The 2 with the nade, the 1 in mid, and there you go. Give him the ace as well. Shout out to Javi. 8-1 from him. Fantastic start. Here's the nade. Kaboom! Straight on the stairs. Oh, KiSMET and Co, you can't even get into the place you need to defend the bomb when it goes down. Lovely stuff from Mutineers. 3-1 to the good.
Clearly a practice set up from them. The break works out. Vehicle picks up the kills and probably didn't have the greatest of map 1s, but map 2, completely different story. Havoc actually 0 and 4 onto this one, but doesn't really need to get the kills if they're still winning. KiSMET, though, takes down Havoc instantly. Major Maniac does get one back already.
Something I kind of picked up on round number 2. It felt like Subliners were setting up for Havoc in a certain kind of way. Well, you can't set up for this. Or can you? Trophy system? Will it work? Will it not? Let's find out. It worked.
It did, but they know he's here, and they're waiting for him. Skyz knows it as well. And Major might be able to be the player who finds him. You can see him going all the way around here. Skyz is going to get cut down, and he does. Nice. Vehicle gets another one. HyDra left alone on a 1 versus 3. Might actually have permission, but I think they're waiting for him. They are. Vehicle knows exactly where he's coming from. Shuts down HyDra before anything can occur. And the Mutineers, there's a reason they've been dominant on S&D. It's a reason why we knew this wasn't going to be all plain sailing for New York. 10-1.
A wonderful game out of Vehicle so far. And you do love to see it. You know, some people in the community questioning his place on this Mutineers lineup. Has he really performed to the level as a lot of people would have expected? But I don't think he has to be that guy putting up serious numbers for this Florida team. Right now, though, he's doing that job and doing it well. 9 spree for Vehicle. Got to stay on board with him, haven't we?
Well, he certainly did. Let's see how high he can fly. For this first push, and there's a player in the corner. He hasn't seen him. He's going to get cut down by HyDra. Surely it eventually does go down. Not able to get it away from it. First blood to New York, and it's a big one.
Look at this high setup. Havoc is here. Well, Havoc's dead. Oh, is he going to get away? Surely he's going to get traded. HyDra and KiSMET are there. And that aggression that comes in from Havoc is all well and good, but if one of your players trying to watch your back is already dead, then that's a difficult position. Speaking of those, Brack now in a 1 versus 3.
Let's see. Is there magic in the tank here for Brack? Well, he's on 4. He needs to make it 7. Times against him. They all know he's going to go for the reach out. Oh, he's going to go for a big reach out. Flies out and falls down.
Not much you could do there. Vehicle was the, I want to say the further advanced aggressor, actually, by the side of Mutineers. And I wouldn't say that's typically his role. It's obviously usually Havoc pushed up there. And maybe Vehicle kind of play inside the bomb side, try to be that awkward little player to try and find a pick before they do get in there. Even if he gets traded, he's there to find those first bloods. Brack can't find it. Vehicle can't either. HyDra opens things up, and all of a sudden, if you're Havoc, you're that guy that usually runs forward with cover, and well, you had none of it. 4-2 still to the forward Mutineers, still looking comfortable. Havoc yet to get on the board.
Well, let's see. Because when he usually plays this map, he's a thorn in the side. Priestahh. Is he going to see Major Maniac? I think he did. He's looking for it. KiSMET is already going for a very aggressive push. Looking to counter here. And they're flying in, but there's nobody up top. Checks the bomb site. Nobody there either. We'll eventually find somebody as they're clearing this out step by step.
And Florida are getting a lot of information here. There'll be a lot of sound cues coming on through. They'll have a good idea that some people are on their flank. But when this bursts into life, it is going to be fast and frantic, and whoever comes out on top should be the one to win the round, should have that number advantage.
The problem for Florida...
It's awkward positions.
They've burnt a lot of time here, and it's not really a good position for them to rotate to B, by the way, unless they punch through. They don't know who's waiting over towards white. They don't know anyone on the back, so this is it. They're going forward. They're going forward. They want this map positioning, but no kills have gone down, and that time is almost over. Skyz finds the first one. Major Maniac goes for the trade. 3 versus 3. The Mutineers still have to get this bomb down as Vehicle finds another 11 and 2. It's a 2 versus 3. They're going to have to go for the plant now.
And where are Subliners set up? HyDra in the bomb site. It's not something you want to see if you're a Florida fan. Vehicle through the front door. HyDra already waiting. The time has just ticked on by. HyDra a second. HyDra. Is it going to be a third? It doesn't need to be. Major Maniac finds one. The other nowhere near. Subliners. Because of that flank, as you said, it kind of give Florida information, but give them the information they probably didn't want. 2 players behind us, right, but where? Where do we actually have room on this map? And in the end, the gunfights just went on far too long. Mutineers, no room to breathe, no room to move. Another round over towards the Subliners.
That was the biggest issue. Without being able to get a pick in that position, they didn't want to rotate inside because they didn't know exactly where everybody was. They couldn't rotate back. Well, a lot of the times we've seen Florida Mutineers basically go out towards B when they hit a stalemate. At that point, they had lost their flank. They didn't want to go that direction. And realistically, the clock killed them. They had to make moves they didn't want to make because they were patient, but New York were just as patient, giving them no room.
Major Maniac looking for the opening pick here towards bar. That sightline we see oh so often. Good game himself. 7 and 3. Could have been it if he aimed a little higher. HyDra flash ruined only. Major Maniac will back on down, but time is ticking. 30 seconds gone. Subliners yet to make any inroads over towards the A site.
Gotta be careful, KiSMET is gonna get caught there by Major. HyDra goes for a chat as well. It could have been 2. He's gonna do it again. Major Maniac just doesn't get that kill, but already in a great position. 2 versus 4. New York have not made a step forward.
Brack wins his gunfight as he so often does when it comes down to search and destroy. Trade comes in. HyDra down. Skyz will find Havoc, but it's a 1 versus 3 now for Skyz. Make that 0 versus 3. Florida Mutineers still in a comfortable spot here in the search and destroy. Subliners are threatened to come back here, but Mutineers 1 round away from tying the series up.
Was looking a little bit scary, but Vehicle's on a 13 and 3, and I think Brack's playing well, Major Maniac's playing well. Havoc, not so much, but with the rest of the team taking all of your kills, there's not much you can do, Ton. There was a question coming in here about some of these map picks, because realistically, New York let this get through, and from what I can tell, I think New York are playing themselves. They're not playing Florida. They didn't take this map out of the rotation. They thought they could have a good time on it, but at the moment, it doesn't look like that's true.
I think they were maybe a little bit more worried about a player like Havoc, the one causing issue, but I don't think they would have thought they would have been Vehicle. Vehicle finds his 14th kill of the map after HyDra does take down Brack. Havoc with the drop shot. His first kill is an important one. Now a 3 versus 2. Subliners need this round to stay in the map.
And look at all the dancing going around on the Mutineers side.
Look at Skyz.
Finds one with a pistol and gets away with it as well. They are looking for this trade as well, but they haven't found him. And it is very, very passive from New York. They are looking to just pick and move.
And Priestahh used that as a moment to find himself a little bit of a better position. Popped his dead silence, moved, and stood still. But Subliners, are you ready for this push over towards B now as the Florida Mutineers have made their way over Skyz? You sneaky little beaver. Vehicle is waiting. There's another one for Vehicle. 5 versus
Vehicle.
Oh my god.
No! I cannot believe Vehicle got away alive there. I don't know how he did it. That was almost like a Neo, just bending the bullets around him. But Priestahh in a 1 versus 2. He knows he has to take these players out as well. Doesn't know where that second player is, and he will eventually get caught. The Florida Mutineers will walk away with that one. And that's what they were looking for, the bounce back. Their bread and butter and S&D.
And it's new hairline Javi who gets the job done for them. The Florida Mutineers coming out, and it's Vehicle, the star of the show here. What a game from him. And I said throughout it, we were saying that he has been one of the ones who have maybe had a little bit more scrutiny on them throughout this Florida Mutineers roster. And you can't say anything about that. 15 and 3.
We're talking about his bomb plants.
I know.
Didn't really need him that much. Just kill everybody instead.
Look, they started giving it to Havoc and Brack, and he started doing the business. You see, you don't need me on bomb plants, he says. what a performance. 10 non-traded kills this year and 9 spree on top of that as well. And kind of the way we thought map number 2 would go. It felt like a bit of an awkward pick for the side of Subliners. We didn't like it. And I said they kind of went to veto their own worst enemy rather than actually get rid of something that Florida are very good at. And clearly in this case, aBeZy is one of those things.
Yeah, it's kind of that veto strategy thing that we've spoken about before. Do you ban out their best maps? Do you ban out your worst maps? How do you figure out you should play it and try to figure out the other team? Obviously, we knew aBeZy was incredible for Florida Mutineers. New York did too, but said, hey, we'll still take them on. We think this is probably better for us on this one, and they banned out some of the other maps instead. So we'll see. We'll see if that plays out, because we've got more S&D, more control, more hardpoint, all coming up after this break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Call of Duty League.
The Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We have New York Subliners going up against the Florida Mutineers. And at the moment, it sits 1-1, a very much predicted scoreline for most people. New York handily took the hard point. Florida Mutineers shot right back with their S&D prowess.
And as we expected, the S&D, you're very right, but I don't think any of us were really expecting it to be Vehicle that took over the map. Did so well, of course. We highlighted the fact that he's been the bomb carrier for the majority of the time for the Florida Mutineers, and maybe the stats in Search and Destroy of still being relatively good. That would have helped his stats along quite nicely, but heading into Control, for all that Search and Destroy, aLLeY was looking good for the side of Florida Mutineers. This map in particular, Hotel Control, looks fantastic for the Subliners. 5-1 record for them. This should be pretty rough for Florida. I would say probably rougher than the Search and Destroy was for the side of New York. New York Subliners emphatic at this map, and it really has been the attacking rounds that have been doing the job for them. 85% of those offenses they are winning, and if you look at Florida, the lowest win rate on defense as well. So this tells a story, and we believe New York Subliners should walk away with this one pretty handily.
Well, the only thing to find out is if the stats do ring true here. And, well, that's a big start already. Priestahh opening up. KiSMET gets the second kill as well. HyDra the third, and only Brack trying to stem the tide. But already, New York making a move onto B.
Lovely opening break. Florida Mutineers, no answer to it so far. It's always that B hit that does come in quite early for some of these teams who tend to do a little bit better. And HyDra setting up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Everybody dead. Subliners now in a perfect position. B already gone. Florida Mutineers yet to really get on the board. Only one of Subliners have died so far.
Oh, that's great counting there, Tan, but
thanks, mate.
The story is at the moment, Florida Mutineers, nothing on this map so far. The first tick of A is going down as well. Can they send this tide, or is it just look to the next round already? KiSMET laying down, have it going for a chow. He gets in there eventually. HyDra gets the trade for him as well. Mutineers, though, looking to regain control of this one, but HyDra's still going. Surely not. Even trying to pre-spray every single angle. He's on his own, but it doesn't matter. Skyz flies in. He goes down as well. New York will have to take a breath now and re-attack this from the right angle.
New York have to take a breath. Florida Mutineers get to. Now take a moment to get themselves set up. Trades going on in the mid-map, but look at this wrap immediately coming in from Subliners, spawning over towards the glass side, and that will force them to have a nice easy rotation on the flank. KiSMET is going to be the one that's setting up the play here for the side of Subliners. HyDra does get taken down in the mid-map, but KiSMET towards the back should be a massive issue for the Mutineers.
He's going to get through first, though, and he finds a player. He's going to win the gunfight. He does. But he needs his teammates to win some gunfights in the rest of the map, Ton. This is now crucial. KiSMET knows he's in a good position, and that's why the Mutineers have pushed in the kitchen. But here comes the squeeze. They're going to hit this from every angle if they can, but they need to win the gunfights. KiSMET cannot do anything here without support.
Gunfight in the middle of the map is being won by the Subliners. Spawns for Mutineers, though, way out because of KiSMET's positioning. Now the move is going to start to be made. Rest of the Subliners now need to keep on moving. KiSMET, though, he's going to do it himself. That's 2 for him. 1 player left towards the kitchen. New York Subliners are sniffing him out, and it's about 2 ticks about to come in. Florida Mutineers all from the front now.
Again, Skyz is the first, and he's just going up and down and looking for the angles everywhere. Havoc going to try and deflect when he pushes, but he gets the first, looks for the second, and he's gunned down. KiSMET has made a huge play. The patience to hold at the back, waiting for his teammates. And eventually says, you know what, I'll do it myself. Into the point with a 2-piece. Breaks open the defense. And the Florida Mutineers were looking to try and regain after that B hit. Just couldn't find anything for the rest of the round.
And the KiSMET play, yeah, okay, we can highlight the first 2 kills that he finds when he eventually finds his way into the A site. But what he does is manipulate the spawns there. He pushes into Jewel. Florida Mutineers are then spawning all the way towards Spa. Whereas because of the push that originally come in, still Subliners are spawning relatively close. Nicely done from the side of Subliners to kind of pick their way through the Mutineers. And KiSMET was the catalyst for that. Now was the push going to come in from the side of Mutineers. Looking over towards B. Skyz ready and waiting.
He was tempted to get out of there then, but he saw the trophy behind him and went, all right, I can wait a second more. I don't have to go anywhere quite yet. they're looking for as well HyDra with a huge first pick into bedroom. You already see Mutineers really want to push this. They know they have a little bit of bedroom control as Major Maniac finds the second one, but Priestahh will eventually gun him down. Oh my goodness! Priestahh cuts down this attack. 2 from Major Maniac, but the better 2 were from Priestahh in the end. Major Maniac gets a 3rd, and New York are feeling the pressure here of the Florida Mutineers. Let's find out how they are coping with it in the comms.
We're dead. He's on the cube. He's on the cube. Line dead. Nice. Mike's here.
Long.
Oh my god. Michael's here.
Yo, couch.
They didn't cap this. They didn't cap this. Capping.
I think couch. Couch. Watch out. Nice job. Sheep
I'm in right now.
Yeah, they're gonna be fast. Take your time.
Yo, connector. He Colt's looking at me. He went to the point. Pushing up. No, there.
I'll go too. I'm coming to help you. No, I couldn't, bro. My bad. For me. 2 on A.
I'm going B. You're blocking?
They're spawning. Yeah, they're spawning kitchen. Go, Phil. I'm
I got you. I'm going deep left.
Are you feeling or not?
Yeah, we're filling. Yes,
Yo, he's cat room, bro.
Cat
Cat room, I hit him with an aid.
Blocking.
Miss that time dead, I'm one shot.
Nice, good shit.
One more time,
I'm with you.
Connector, I'm one shot.
Nice, dude. Spawn kitchen.
All spawn by kitchen.
Storage.
Storage, one shot.
Oh, the comms are flowing on New York's side, but not as well as HyDra and KiSMET are. Huge score lines from them. 14 and 6 from HyDra, 11 and 4 from KiSMET. But will be Mutineers who eventually get A under control. 1 minute 25 left on the clock and 15 lives. Can they make this happen?
Subliners just trying to close the gap as well here themselves. Tighten the net, so to speak. KiSMET finds that kill onto Major Maniac. How many highlight plays have we seen from KiSMET in and around Jewel? Mutineers now pinned back just a little bit. HyDra getting aggressive as well. And for the Subliners, you kind of got to rely on Havoc here. He's found a little bit of a route out. And they find this kill over towards Skyz. And that will open up bedroom for Florida Mutineers. That's the way you want to be pushing.
They're trying to make a move forward as well. Havoc is looking for the players in every single corner. Problem is always going to be here for Florida's. Now they have to double back, and they're not really putting pressure on New York. If anything, they're just having a little bit of a treasure hunt. Where are these players? And eventually he's going to find him. Havoc pops a deadie at just the wrong time. And it's not so much pushing towards B, it's just trying to get anywhere near B at the moment, as Skyz gets another. Vehicle eventually finds Priestahh. He might dive out for this one, and he has. It's the chance.
Big chance. KiSMET now is the only one here. He could have found that kill. It would have been huge for Vehicle, but the rest of the Subliners now pushing through mid-map. For Mutineers, if you're going to have a chance, this is it.
What was an opportunity has swiftly disappeared. Vehicle last alive, and he's still trying to find that fight versus Priestahh. It's a big kill there for Vehicle, but down he goes again. And 5 seconds left. HyDra on a 5 spree. HyDra on a 6 spree. His stats already are ridiculous.
Big round from HyDra. And honestly, he's kind of just like, I don't know how I've survived so long. It was a push through from kitchen on the original attack over towards B. For the side of Florida Mutineers, where it all really started. He was spawning them, forcing them over towards that glass side where the Subliners were already set up. So not only is he helping his team by manipulating that spawn, he's killing everyone who's trying to retake that kitchen side. Any approach over towards that site, HyDra invited it. Laughs around the camp from the New York Subliners. They gotta be feeling good. 2-0 to the good here. HyDra is 20 and 6.
Well, 6 deaths in 2 rounds of control. That is actually something to write home about at the moment. They go for a very fast A push. Only player going to be here is Havoc. Can he stay alive long enough? They know he's here as well as HyDra comes flying out and wins the gunfight. 7 streak for HyDra. Even I think he was disgusted by that shoot. And now, I think already the Mutineers have given it up. HyDra's over there. It turns out they're afraid of water ton.
Yeah, we got a good example of that map number 1 as well. Yep, HyDra shoot gun very well. That is my analysis on this one so far. 21 and 6. Now we've seen a couple of streaks go on Control Hotel, aren't we? HyDra's, well, 10 away from breaking the Simp record. I wouldn't put it past him.
Wow, that is a tall chance, but we'll find out. HyDra now sitting pretty, looking for this first kill. He's going to get it as well. That's an A streak for him now. Flies out and is going to go towards the back. The rest of the Mutineers are falling like dominoes as New York want to end this right here and right now. There are 2 players left in bedroom. And that's their chance, that's their opportunity. Those players have to stay alive and make the difference. HyDra versus Havoc finds the first. Thank you very much. That's a 9 streak now. He might not even get close to Simp's record because the game is going to end.
I think that might well be the case. Vehicle behind. He's already found 1, but is this progress just progressing that little bit too fast? HyDra eventually does go down. good retake from the side of Mutineers, and honestly that is made by Vehicle finding the kill, dipping and staying alive, because then all the Subliners like, oh god, there's somebody in bedroom, turn around, the rest of Mutineers straight through Spar onto the point, clear them out. But at a disadvantage now, 23 to 19 is the life difference, but they have a little bit of location over towards the bedroom side. They can just try and stay alive as long as they can, which wasn't very long.
It certainly wasn't. Røkkr going to try and come through HyDra, dropping it. It's not going to hit anything though, and originally with Priestahh getting a second kill, that tick is almost done, and so is its control. It is a clinic. It is over. It is done, and the Mutineers again on the respawn. Just nowhere to be found. HyDra has gone berserk on that. And the Mutineers, it doesn't even look like the same league.
They speedrun that, Pricey, if I'm honest with you. I felt like we've been playing Hotel Control for about 5 minutes. It may not have even been that. HyDra takes over. And honestly, like, it's just the way they manipulate the spawns to their advantage every single time. And Florida Mutineers are constantly stuck in between a rock and a hard place. You're not spawning anywhere you want. And when you are spawning anywhere you want, there is somebody from Subliners there. Most of the time, it's HyDra, who drops 24 on your forehead. A really big game from him at 3-0 on Hotel Control. Very, very dominant from the side of our Stage 1 champions. The Subliners looking hot heading into map number 4.
Yeah, and hot is the only way to put it, because that was one-sided. Florida had some highlights, but realistically, it was the New York show through and through. And if you're asking yourself what it looks like to be one of the best teams on the game, going up a team that has struggled infamously in respawns this season, well, it's pretty much as we expected.
And I said it was mostly the HyDra show, but the whole of the New York team doing their job. When you've got someone like Priestahh and Skyz who can just lock things down so well, you can then allow players like KiSMET, allow players like HyDra to spread their wings, let them off the leash, and they can cause that kind of damage. 3-0, and it doesn't flatter them. Hotel is where we will stay for hard point. I think a lot of people kind of had this down as a 3-1. It's looking that way so far. Florida Mutineers really going to have to step up here in map number 4. But if Florida are to get a hard point, Hotel might be it. But it's still a tall order. It's still a tall order.
Yeah, statistically, there is a chance. Florida have played Hotel Hardpoint 6 times. They've only won it 2. On the other side of it, New York have played it 7 times. They've won it 4. They've only lost 3. It isn't their strongest hardpoint. It isn't their weakest either. Fortress is actually New York's weakest, but it could be the second best thing. There is a potential, a possibility for Florida here. The dream can remain alive. Can they get it back to S&D?
I think for the Mutineers here, preemptively just diving into this one, rotational side of things for New York is always so strong. I mean, across each and every single one of the 5 hardpoint maps, we have a rotational percentage. They're ranked 3 on Fortress, ranked 3 on Hotel, ranked 1 on aBeZy, ranked 5 on Mikado, ranked 3 on HyDra. They are constantly there first. It's because of guys like KiSMET, guys like HyDra, who will find those routes, and Priestahh and Skyz are the ones there to back it up when they do win that rotation. It's why they are so strong at that mode. Their break percentages aren't necessarily sensational on any of the maps, but because they don't need to. Majority of the time, they're there first, they're picking up so much time. So for the side of Florida Mutineers, how is your breaking going to be? Are you going to be able to out-rotate New York? You really is going to come down to some of the S&Gs making some smart plays, but Florida Mutineers right now look kind of despondent. That was really a beating in map number 3. They need to bounce back here in map number 4.
Yeah. I think the problem I'm having here is I'm trying to look at the positives for Florida Mutineers. Statistically, yeah, this matchup isn't as far away as it could be. But I don't know. For me, it's one of those ones where New York just look like a better team, Tom.
They really do. I mean, there are not many teams who can go up against New York and look like the better team. It's very rare that we have seen that since the start of this CDL season on Modern Warfare 2 and Florida Mutineers. I think, unfortunately for them, it's not going to be them that break this duct of New York Subliners constantly winning. The control, it was never going to be the case. The search and destroy for Subliners it felt like kind of like I want to say they want some practice on some of these maps. That's kind of what the veto process told us in a certain kind of way. No disrespect to Mutineers, but it's a good time to try out some good search and destroy. You're going up against one of the best if you are the Subliners in terms of search and destroy. Florida have very much been there, but everything else has looked poor. It's looked below average, to say the least. And Subliners running away with this one. Bryce, map number 4. Here we go.
Yeah, this is going to be it. And I suppose the obvious thing to say here is bear in mind, New York are the team to beat at the moment. The champions from Major 1, they have continued looking forward into Major number 2. Potential titans of the CDL at the moment. Florida Mutineers really are trying to overcome a mountain. But anything can happen on the CDL, and we'll see if it happens on Hotel. HyDra is the man we'll watch because he had such a good game under control.
And yeah, for the side of Florida, yes, it is very much about those rotations. Just try to counteract what New York obviously do so well. I mean, you don't need to actually be alive, though, for this to happen. It's a clean wipe for the side of Subliners. Major Mania. The next on the chopping block doesn't quite get taken down. It's a good start for Subliners. 20 points already over towards P1. That's quite significant.
Well, this is where it gets a little bit dicey. That P1, obviously, can get you some points. Realistically, most of them look... Oh, my God! I don't understand sometimes how they manage to transfer like that from player to player. But HyDra looking for 2 players. They are going to go and try and challenge him here. And eventually, Vika will manage to get him. 2 work together.
And if you are somebody tuning in who is a huge Scump fan, if you're looking for a new breed of SMG player who can maybe not do things quite as well as the King could, it is Pico. Not yet, at least, anyway. HyDra is one of those ones who can light up any game, and so far so good. Rotation is here for the side of Florida Mutineers. They've been successful when they have found this rotation, but there's a HyDra inside your rotation. There's 2. The jump up will cancel the 3rd. Major Maniac does well to find 2 himself, but Priestahh with 2 of his own. Back and forth between these 2 Subliners are in.
Eventually, HyDra comes and helps him out here as well. And yeah, that was a huge break from New York. They put the pressure on Florida all the way through. And I think Priestahh may push out. I'll say that he's popped Teddy to lay down. No, he hasn't. He is eventually going to push out as well. HyDra's already hitting this rotation. He's going to be sitting in kitchen waiting for the Major Maniac as he gets another kill. 7 and 3 for HyDra. And there is not an easy way to stop him.
Priestahh there on the other side as well will clean out the glass side. Information will come as soon as he's starting to be shot in the back where the push is going to start coming from for the Florida Mutineers. It's down this side. On a spin will be Skyz. And this is not a bad setup here from the Mutineers. If you move quick, you're at 2 versus 4. But will they know now? There's a Subliner starting now to converge through the middle of the map. Big fight about to happen.
This is where the squeeze has to come in. Vika maybe first through the door, and already trades are flying for it, and Vika hasn't really done an awful lot. Just stayed alive and been a problem as HyDra picks up the weak player. HyDra will pick up the second player because of course he will. Why not? HyDra just keeps slaying them as right to the door. Brack dives in, guns against him. HyDra gets another kill here. Hasn't died in kitchen on a 5-string. Eventually runs out and goes down. Skyz versus Vika, and it's peekaboo, and Skyz wins the snake off.
Oh, Major Maniac will go in and find that final trade. It's about 18 points that the Florida Mutineers sorely need. Rotation again, New York again, the first ones here. The Mutineers cannot keep up with them at the moment because they're having to fight for so much scrap initially because they're so far behind. The rotations are getting more difficult. The score will get worse. 11 and 5 from HyDra. Skyz 5 and 4. It's just a clinic so far from the Subliners. Rotation is there. Vika is behind though.
Behind and will cause a problem. And dive out for it. Knows where Skyz is. Goes for the shot as well. But Skyz wins that gunfight. But it may be just enough. The rest of the Mutineers have swarmed in off the back of Vika finding that original kill. HyDra is still
yeah. I mean,
problem.
14 and 6 from him. Mutineers now. This is going to be a rotational win. 30 seconds to go. You might want to chalk it up early just to get some points on the board at this stage. When they have found rotations, though, on this map specifically, their last matchup, they won half of them. 5 out of the 10 times we had hills come up, they won that rotation. They held all 5 times for a majority score. They need to start doing that pretty quickly. Only man here from the side of Subliners is KiSMET. He's being dealt with. A rotation finally from the Florida Mutineers is going to go their way. You need some good time here.
This is it. This is everything for them. The pressure is mounting. They cannot afford to fall further behind. New York have slowed this down now, probably looking for a perfect break, but already losing a vehicle, finding 2 from the corner. Will eventually be traded away, but it will slow down all of New York for it. Major Maniac has to try and come out of the point here as the kills aren't really going his way, as HyDra doesn't care. HyDra just comes through. They've instantly wrested that away from them. And now Vehicle has to back up in the kitchen.
As said, when we came into this game, Subliners, in terms of those break percentages that we talk about so often, haven't necessarily shone on that. 7th, only 20% of the time they find the breaks. It feels like 100% of the time they find the breaks. And 100% of the time it's HyDra, the first one through the door, but this time around they're not going to hold it. Vehicle will find 2, Skyz will fall. It's an easy break for the side of the Florida Mutineers for 10 seconds. But that's their problem right now. Because of where the scoreline is, they need to break for those 10 seconds. They've got a rotation again. They have to force New York to try and do something. As the Subliners will clean up, they want to make that push through kitchen. That's very apparent. The old time that they've now fought over. Our Mutineers ready and waiting for this.
HyDra in a bad position. Major Maniac will pick up an easy kill there in the end. Vehicle will get a second one and a third.
Where's the spawns?
We'll wipe them out. It's a split. It's a split. They've got 2 kitchen. They've got 2 going to come through the bedroom now. And Vehicle's going to look for Skyz as well. Is he going to be picked up for it as well? No, Vehicle continuing to put the pressure on. He's now on a 5 streak. Florida Mutineers are putting the hurdle to New York just a little bit. More time here is exactly what they need as Vehicle's on 6.
And that's all of a sudden a streak in the back pocket. A potential route back into this game. Last couple of hills have been so much better from the side of Mutineers, but you need to start winning your gunnies. 15 seconds to go. This is nearly a full 60 for the side of Florida Mutineers, and this is a kind of full 60 that gets you back into a game. Keep an eye on Havoc as well, as that rotation is going to start coming in. The spawn out for Subliners over towards Restaurant might give them an indication that Havoc is here.
Well, that big of an indication of Havoc coming in and making a 2-piece done, and they've managed to get that away. And could this be the comeback? Could this be the chance they need? Florida Mutineers are fighting back from a massive deficit. Eventually will lose P1, but still fight a Major Maniac's here. He's looking for HyDra. Nades flying in both directions. He eventually does go down. It may not be the P1 that decides it, as I think Mutineers not only need to just get enough points off of this one, but make sure they lock in those P2 rotations.
I mean, in all fairness to them, it was 100 points at one stage. They brought that back down to around 50. Skyz is going to be the one on this rotation, though. He's already set up inside of lobby. Florida Mutineers are being forced to spawn out. Eventually, New York are able to get some sort of hold on these spawns towards back duel, towards the lobby, towards Spa. That's where you want to be locking things down. Priestahh, the first line of defense, is going to find Vehicle. Is he going to find Havoc? Of course he is. Priestahh really turning up here for the squad. Needs to lock this side of the map down.
Trying to stay alive, trying to play his life as much as possible, but his time might be numbered. I say that he finds the first kill. He's going to fly off!
Oh my!
That's a huge challenge. He continues. Eventually taken down by Havoc, but it took all 4 players for them. Priestahh really trying to make sure the Mutineers can't mount any sort of a comeback. And now the push has to come in. The Mutineers, it's lethal range for Subliners, and all the kill feed is yellow.
The rest of Subliners having to do absolutely nothing. Priestahh nearly found all 4 pushing over towards Jewel. And that really has put a pin in this second hill. Oh, here we go again. Skyz, Priestahh locking it down. The ARs are crispy. As is that scoreline for your Subliners fan. It's going to be about 2:40 before we head over towards P3. The slaying continues. The point scoring continues for the side of Subliners. They're showing their pedigree now as Florida Mutineers starting to spawn out just a little bit as well. Attacking towards kitchen. The Subliners are here. They want to end it with a bang.
Oh, this is it for the Mutineers. Holding kitchen or go home with a loss. At the moment, they have control and the spawns. Skyz looking for the first one. Major Maniac holds him down. It's a good start.
If you're Florida, you can't make many mistakes here. The setup starting to come in from Subliners. Florida Mutineers, the one caveat you have is that you have Brett coming in around behind them. If you're New York Subliners, you need to start moving now.
Oh, not a single kill. Major finds one single trade. And that'll basically be it. The Mutineers have to run and fly, but even then, I don't think they have the time. It's going to be the New York Subliners who clean up. Another clinical respawn from them. And a 3-1 it ends. The Florida Mutineers' troubles on respawns continue. And this team has got to be so exasperated. For every bit they are great at S&D, they don't match up to the majority of the rest of the league when it comes to hardpoint and control.
Well, want to say Search and Destroy wins championships. It doesn't really win you many series, if I'm all honestly. Florida Mutineers, you need to find something, because the subliners, look, okay, let's give them the credits as subliners here. That was a monumental performance, specifically on Hotel. Map number 1 got a little bit scary here and there. We haven't seen much from them on HyDra. Maybe there's a good reason for that. Their second rotation hills was so good. But on this map specifically, Priestahh locking down where he needs to. HyDra's first one through the door, and quite often that guy that's doing those rotational fights for you. You kind of speak about those, what do you want to say, the rootman gets paid kind of stat line that we go with. HyDra does that, and alongside that finds this slaying as well. It makes it so difficult for teams to try and find these breaks, to try and find these rotations, because there's a HyDra there 99% of the time. And that is a dominant scoreline on Hotel. Control 3-0, 250 to 160, and map number 4. We kind of thought this was the way that it would go. Florida Mutineers, great on Search and Destroy, not that great on anything else.
Yeah, you are right. I mean, realistically, silver lining, it is going to be New York, the #1 team in the CDL right now, against Florida, who are down about 8th and struggling to find consistency in their game modes. But we are going to throw it over to our desk to break down everything we've just seen. Puckett, over to you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, and excellent work as always to our casters. Shout out to the Flank Watch Party. Also, Scump live with a huge watch party and a crazy subathon. Go join up on that in between the break. But let's break this game down, because beforehand, aLLeY, you called it might be a 3-0. Florida holds strong in Search and Destroy. But, Ant, you said Florida has to win Control Game 3 if they're going to win this series. This was not a 2-3-5 victory. How do they fix that moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. You look at these hard points, it's like Florida, one, their rotations are pretty awful, but they're going to get up against a better team, right? So the odds are stacked against them. I look at this Florida team, I just don't see a playmaker in hard point. Like, nobody there is making plays on the rotations, getting the big kills that they need to. It's going to be a struggle for them throughout this entire season. That second rotation to HyDra was just horrendous. But, you know, speaking a little bit more about the control Puckett, I was saying they had to win it coming into this series, but there was no way. Like, you're going up against New York on Hotel. It's the best Hotel control team we have in the game. HyDra and KiSMET just had their way with them. I mean, Florida were just down and out when it came to the series.
aLLeY, what makes Subliners so dangerous when it comes to this map in particular? What did they show you in this series?
It was honestly just the slaying power, to be honest. I mean, New York actually isn't even like one of the better control teams. They're just overall a better respawn team. And the issue with Florida is they didn't get the LSCL control, which they desperately needed, because Habit and Brack actually are very comfortable on that map, as we saw on map number 2. They are forced to play that HyDra in that first map of the series. And you're going against the #1 rotational team in New York versus the 10th breaking team in the Florida Mutineers. This series just wasn't laid out for them, and unfortunately went the way everybody expected.
Bad matchup for the Mutineers. Great matchup for the Subliners, who are still on top. They have the #1 seed right now if we ended things going into Boston, and I don't see anyone in their near future that's going to cause them problems. Let's take a look at our Scuff play of the game, because everyone from the Subliners were cooking today, and they were doing it from the water. Look at these HyDra battles. Gunny after gunny, underwater, didn't matter. Skyz, I think he had 6 different pistol kills on camera tonight. The man is just getting the job done. And Nameless, you were saying it's not just HyDra. Skyz, a big player when it came to these hard points on rotations in his own right.
Yeah, I mean, I think the respawns are relatively easy for New York throughout this series. You could have picked a couple plays from any of these guys. But what I saw in that game 1 out of Skyz, I was really impressed by. Some of the big rotations out of him, that P2, to really get like the lead in that game. He made a huge play, popping 3 in the back with the scars. So just giving Skyz some love, man. I think he might be the X.
We had Skyz on the show last time. Today, I want to bring in well, he's not a new face, but he's new to this show. He joins us for another interview. It's Priestahh joining Headquarters Live. Priestahh, how are we feeling, man? The numbers look phenomenal for the Subliners right now.
Oh, we're feeling good, man. We're just flowing really good as a team, and we're just excited to keep playing.
Congratulations on another huge win. Honestly, you guys are looking completely unstoppable. I wanted to ask you, the HyDra, I remember we were talking about it on the desk. We were like, we think this is just a map pool test, but the map number 2, LSCL, obviously Florida's best S&D. Was that one also a test, or is that a map you guys just felt really comfortable on in scrims and wanted to pull out into the series?
Yeah, Asilo is a map we're trying to get a lot of reps on, just because we haven't really played it much. We played it in our last match, and we're playing again today. So we're just trying to get reps on it, just because we haven't played it much, and just get more comfortable on it, so we can widen our map pool a little bit.
So P-Dog, you know, a lot of people, I feel like they've been really critical of you over the years. You know, we've seen some tweets and stuff of people giving you your love now on how many championships you've won, how good you've been over the last few years. With this roster, though, now it seems like you've elevated, like you're back to frying like you were when you first came into the scene. What's the biggest difference for you on an individual level? Because you've really been lighting it up.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is just realizing when I need to play selfish and not trying to do too much, not trying to help everyone at the same time, just kind of doing my own thing, doing my 25% of the team, and just focusing on just winning my gunfights and just doing what I need to do.
You're doing it well, son, and it's showing in the numbers. I have to ask you right now, you're the #1 seed if we're going into Boston tomorrow. Is there anyone that you feel you might match up closer to? Because this was a great matchup for the Subliners going up against the Mutineers.
Yeah, I believe we play Atlanta FaZe next, and we played them a while ago, and they're looking really good in scrims, and I know they've been grinding, so excited to play against them, but I think they're going to be a tough match for sure.
All right, cheers, man. Looking forward to that showdown. KiSMET, work on your wiggle, bro. You got to get loose with the wrist. That's the Subliners, another big dub. That's my man Priestahh, and we're going to see him later this weekend against Atlanta FaZe, his old team. We got to go to a quick commercial break, but before we do, reminder, tickets are on sale right now. Come show your beautiful faces live in Boston, February 2nd to the 5th. It's at the brand new MGM Music Hall at Fenway.
I can't wait. And honestly, I think we're going to get sold out soon. So y'all better go check it out, man. Go to callofdutyleague.com and see if you can get yourself a ticket. It is going to be a blast.
When we come back, it's match number 2 of the day and our first look at the new OpTic as they take on a struggling Seattle Surge. The Surge get back on track.